minutes from them, so I have to.
All right, we'll call the regular town board meeting to order.
I can't really even ask her if there's
Want
any.
to
They didn't
lead us in the
somewhere
pledge of
that
allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first up, privilege of the floor. Dave, you wanted to address the board?
I'd like to speak for just a minute. This summer during July, I drove to visit my daughter and her family in Washington State, and on the way back, I went from Detroit to Niagara Falls across that lobe of Canada that is above Lake Erie. And on the way, I realized, or I guess actually I knew, there is Delhi, Ontario. And I was aware when I was there is a plaque in the village hall, or at least it used to be, that came from Delhi, Ontario. I think it was probably a sister community effort by some mayor long before me. Anyway, so that was the connection. And Delhi, Ontario is roughly the size of Delhi, New York, perhaps slightly bigger. And it looks a great deal like our area does. Heavily agricultural, very rural, except for these communities. So I figured I'll stop and schmooze with the powers that be there for 15 minutes, just because that seemed like a reasonable thing to do. And I went to what was clearly the municipal building, and told the clerk or the receptionist who was in the desk nearest the door what I was up to, you know, is there somebody I could talk to? And she said, there is no Delhi, Ontario. And I said, what? And it turns out there clearly is a dot on the map, is Delhi, Ontario, and there's a welcome to Delhi on either end. But all of the municipalities, all of the towns, and what we would call all the towns and all the villages, all the hamlets, in Norfolk County, Ontario, have all been subsumed, or whatever word you want to use, into Norfolk County. And so all of the public services, all of the local government services that you and I would be expected to village or a town to provide, the fire protection and the streets and the water systems and all those kind of things, the building inspector, I assume, all those things are all provided by the county, all provided through the county offices and the county board. And I talked with the clerk secretary a little while longer, asked how things came like that, and it turns out that about 2001, I think this change occurred. And the government now of Norfolk County, Ontario, has a governing board of 9 people. One of them is the chief executive, like the chairman of the meeting and the person who signs the papers, and there are 8 other people like you, the rest of you. I don't know what they call them, but anyway, there are 8 more. So there's a board, or there's a group of 9 people that organize all of the services to the county, and the county has a population of 63,000, and it has an area about 2/3 of the size of, in terms of square miles, in terms of the size of Delaware. And I pondered that as I left, and on my way out, I happened upon a police officer who was coming out of his office that was there, and I passed some time of day with him, and said something to him about policing and what I just found out in the other room. He said yes. He said we provide all of the police force in the whole county, and he is a member of the OPP, the Ontario Provincial Police, the analog of our state police. And it's provided, the policing is provided to the county on a contract basis. I thought it was remarkable. I thought it was really remarkable. And I want to counterpose that with us here, where we have 19 towns, and we have 10 villages. Each one of those town villages has a governing council of 5 people. And 5 times 29 is 145. We use 145 elected individuals to provide local services to 47,000. And this place provides services to 63,000 people with 9 people. Now, there's obviously the street superintendent and all these other things are there, but my point is, we really don't need, folks, 145 people to run the show here. My understanding from history and things I've read and things I've been told is that our current, and it's not just for Delaware County, this is all of New York State and much of the other states. A township was established with a certain size around a certain course so that a farmer could finish up his morning chores and get in his wagon and go down to town and go to the hardware store and see the town supervisor and the town highway superintendent and the banking and whatever, and get back home in time for evening chores. And that was, I'm looking here, we were settled in 1782. That was, 1815, 1825 I'm talking about, when the farmer went in with his horse and wagon. But we're not in 1850s. We're not in the horse and buggy era of the 1850s. We're not in the Monty Ford era of the early 1900s. We're not in the dial-up telephone era of the 1950s. And we're not even the internet is not really new anymore. We are, as of the 1st of September, we are 1/6 of the way through the 21st century. And still, other than the dissolution of Downsville Village and Andes Village, I really don't know of any change in the governance structure in Delaware County in almost 200 years. And I guess I'm coming to you, I'm not saying that we should all move to Ontario, for sure. And I'm not, that's good, because we're not going. We're not going, that's exactly right, this is home. I'm not saying that Norfolk County, Ontario doesn't have its problems, because I'm sure it does. Every place has its problems. And I'm not saying necessarily that we should go follow their model. But I am saying you don't need 145 people any longer to do what we're doing in Delaware County. You are the community leaders. Mark and his colleagues on the county board are the county leaders and leaders of the other areas of the county. And really, and here we're talking about fixing the floodplain and all this stuff. And yet we, as far as I know, we are not talking about anything at all about how we organize our governance. And I guess I'm just asking you as community leaders to start thinking about and talking about, and Mark and his colleagues elsewhere, to talk about how governance in Delaware County and the town of Delhi, you know me, I carry my baggage, I'm sorry, in the village of Delhi, but we really can do better. So that's my message. I had a really nice trip, thank you, and it was really fascinating. And I'd be glad to talk with you more if you have questions. Do you have questions? You can look up information about it.
Tobacco leaves are still in the mayor's office.
Are they? Okay, yes.
They are.
That area.
Do you think I smoked them?
No. They're behind
No,
glass.
that was this afternoon.
Well, that
That area of Ontario was the tobacco growing area for Canada. And they're having their problems because tobacco smoking is being restricted and fewer people are smoking now, and so they're having to move to other products. But anyway, that's that. So, other
Next thing,
questions?
it is something to think about.
Yeah, I mean, really. Really. I have some suggestions on how things might be done, but that's not for now. Thank you.
Sneaking up on me. Anybody else for privilege of the floor? Illustrious All right, moving on. Approval of the minutes from the August 9th meeting. Any corrections, changes, or is there a motion to approve? All right, is there a
I'll
second?
second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let's see. Any updates on the student housing rights? I know we've passed it on to the planning board. I haven't heard anything back from the planning board for their input. I have talked to a couple of police officers, one at the village, one at the county. They said it would be very helpful, especially on Sherwood's Road, because when they show up, all of a sudden they run 50 feet down the road and you can't touch us. So I think we do need to.
Yeah, I'd like to see us try to move ahead on that as soon as possible, as soon as we can.
I like feedback from the planning board though, especially because, they'll ultimately have to give permissions and so forth, so.
Right.
We'll probably wind up putting it in the zoning.
I mean, it's not gonna be a lot of.
We're just messing with you, Elsa. He just keeps turning it back on.
I'm hoping it gets down to sell me on it.
But we did work, the mayor and I worked a lot. We've taken bits and pieces from other communities, college communities, to come up with that policy, so it could be tweaked a little bit more to address the town needs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And there are certain parts of it that are specific only to the village that need to, remove.
so right at this point, our planning board, the town planning board.
Town planning board is looking at it.
Okay.
Yep. Dave Merzig, our attorney, has looked at it.
Okay.
And he's, he said enforcement's the tough part, but if the police agencies are willing to enforce it, then.
Yeah, I really think that the college needs to be on board, and it
Yeah.
is something that we can discuss. We do have a mayor's task force meeting coming up here in November, I think, or
Yep.
something. So that's definitely something we could bring up as a topic to them.
So you think we'll have something to look at by October?
I'm hoping
I
to
hope
hear
you have
back.
feedback.
Yeah, I'm hoping to have feedback from the planning board this month,
Okay.
so then we should be able to make a plan next meeting, hopefully.
Mhm.
All right, let's see. Next item, that's the one on Route 10, isn't it? That is now,
This parcel,
yeah,
I believe that's out of consideration
yeah,
at this moment.
that's been pulled off.
That's
of
been
the-
pulled off, as I believe the one has in the village.
Yeah.
It's going to be sold to private ownership.
Yep, DEP's involvement has been terminated at this point. And the property's gonna stay private, so that's good news.
Absolutely.
Tanglewood Lake Road. Still waiting for anybody that has any idea on how we're gonna get grants or whatnot. Nicole's been working on it, and we still haven't come up with anything. Keep working on that, bring it up again next meeting. Any other old business? All right, moving on to new business. Back in the organizational meeting, we've had ongoing issues with civil service classifications, and we blame it all on Darren because he wouldn't pick one deputy. But now, if we don't call them co-deputy highway superintendent, Teddy Story has talked to everybody involved. The official heading for civil service is deputy highway superintendents.
Right,
So
which,
she called and said, so we can have more than one, and they're like, well, no, we think it meant one. She goes, well, that's not what it says.
right,
So we have an agreement that if we call both of them deputy highway superintendents, we meet all of the civil service
until
baloney.
somebody else decides that's not right.
Until somebody
Anyway.
changes that
Yeah,
again.
because they're
but-
the ones who came to us. We did name them deputy.
Well, we had co.
Well, I don't know where co came from, but initially there was 2 deputies. And they came back and said, you can't do that, you can only have one deputy, you can name the other one anything you want to name. so we named him administrative assistant.
And that is an
And then they
official
turned
title.
around just recently and said, oh, you can't do that, you gotta name them deputies. Like, why don't you make up your mind, then we'll do whatever we're supposed to. So at
So
this
anyway,
point, we need a resolution.
At this,
we
well, we need,
something.
yeah, we need to, I need a motion to, change John Maney and Brian Rosenthal from the organizational meeting, from their titles, and appoint both of them as deputy highway superintendents.
I'll make a motion to change Brian Rosenthal and John Maney back to their original title of Deputy Superintendent of Highways.
No, deputy highway superintendent.
Okay, Deputy Highway Superintendent.
Because if it doesn't match, the computer says it doesn't match, and
Then it's
then
kicked out.
common sense flies out the window, and we're back to square one again, so.
I'll second that
All
until
right.
the next time they contact us.
Until they change it again next week. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We got a resignation letter from Tom Glass. He wants to resign as town constable and be appointed only as court bailiff. So we need to accept his resignation from town constable / court bailiff and reappoint him as town court bailiff. So is there a motion to accept his resignation as town constable / court bailiff?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now, is there a motion to reappoint Tom
Reappoint him
Glass as
as
our town
town
court
bailiff.
bailiff?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Takes care of that. Lakeside Engineering, we've got an invoice number 16-151 totaling $7,840 even. Is there a motion to approve payment of that?
Make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All
Okay, any other new business? All right, moving on, committee reports, highway and machinery, Al, Billy?
I think I would like to bring up the topic of the wing and the plow again. I think somewhere we need to move forward on that. We had agreed back in the beginning of time that we would purchase this wing and the plow for that particular truck. I know we're having some issues, but I would like to see if we can research that a little further to see where we might be able to find the funding to take care of that.
Yeah, I think we need to, I need to wait until I get the numbers from Brian and Darren on, what I've gotta cover on the CHIPS end, till we get reimbursed, so we got a better idea of what we've got left in reserves. But,
I think that wing and plow is ready, so, before, if we don't do something soon, I would hope that we could have this so that by October
If
meeting,
the funds in place to buy.
yeah, that we could definitely say,
By the time we meet again, it could be time to need it.
But our problem is if we don't have enough money to cover the CHIPS expenditures before we get reimbursed,
We'll be carrying that into January.
then we've got bigger problems.
You've talked to the vendor, they still have it.
After last meeting, they were gonna try to hold that,
Stay in touch with them, please.
do the best I can.
the only other thing under highway is that, I think we need to make a plan, for our road going up to the new power station.
Yeah,
And I hope,
I've talked to both Melanie Putman at NYSEG and Steve Ramsey at the Power Authority in the last week. They've got, their meeting with ABB and another agency, which I forget the name of, that we didn't know was involved originally, but apparently is involved and has money. they're supposed to be getting back to me this week with some numbers and schedule a meeting to sit down.
I think it would be a good
But
idea.
We've gotta get things
If
going, or we're not gonna be able
Darren
to plow
put
the
together
road.
some numbers on what you feel that's gonna cost to repair.
They have all of them.
Okay.
They had them
Can you
a
get,
while
can you
ago.
give me copies of that, Darren, so
Mhm.
I can hammer on them a little bit?
I was gonna bring it up too. I got an email from them today from ABB. They want to set up a conference call next week.
I think we need to get ABB, NYSEG, the Power Authority, and this other agency all involved.
It's with
I don't think
ABB.
ABB is really,
It's with ABB and the Power Authority. They have confirmed it. NYSEG still won't respond back, so he's still working on NYSEG
okay. Well,
for
Melanie said they were
included
supposed to
for
have
next week.
an agreement this week, so I don't know, but I do wanna be in on that,
Okay.
because we've gotta get this pushed forward. Now, the numbers you gave them, is that for hiring somebody to repave the road, or was that us doing it?
Yeah, no,
That was hiring it done,
Yeah.
because we probably don't have the guys.
we don't have the time to do it. No.
Alright,
Nope.
but yeah, let me know when they wanna do the call, and,
I think we can pick a date, Mark, so
okay,
whatever date works, we'll
Alright.
do it next week.
alright,
They will be ready next week, they said, for
okay.
a
good.
conference call.
Alright, we'll set up a time then, works for you, and
Okay.
we'll give them a call.
All right.
Hopefully we'll get an agreement hammered out here. If not, we'll give a big story to the press.
It'll be our
We'll name
first call.
names and all sorts of good stuff.
Yeah, I think we need to stick to what we feel needs to go back into that road and not waver from it.
Yeah,
I mean,
my discussions with Steve and Melanie both were, look, I don't care what condition the road was in originally, you totally trashed it. They put more wear and tear on that road in one day than we would have done in a year. And, running trucks for almost a year straight on that road has completely destroyed everything, the base, the culverts, the
and the
pavement's gone.
project is twice as big as what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
More than twice as
So.
big. In the scope of the project, what it would cost to fix our road is chicken feed. So, that's kind of what I've said, and I think Steve and Melanie kind of agree with me, so hopefully we'll get a realistic plan here. But we'll keep everybody informed. Anything else on highway?
We do have our remainder of stone out there still that we have to get rid of.
Yeah.
We have them scheduled. They can come in later this week to make that last batch. We need the
We're
dough.
gonna be able to find a spot where we can use it against chips.
Not chips. Nope. This one's out of highway. We can't do any more chips this year.
There's nothing in highway,
We don't have anything in highway to
Highway's
cover
tapped.
another batch of grader mix.
it's tapped.
I think we're gonna have to move that pile down to Sherwood's, and we're probably gonna lose an amount of the stone, but there's no way we can buy a wing, make another batch of grader mix, and cover the chips money. There's not money to do that.
Okay. I guess I still don't fully understand, but I don't think now's the time to talk about that. We can mix it up to put on two roads that are gonna be covered under chips next year. And they do need it. and
Yeah, if we
They
can
need
do
it
that,
for
like I
winter.
said, if we can put it towards chips, where we get reimbursed for it in December, then we can do it.
It'll get reimbursed in December. It's gonna have to be paid for
Well, that's it.
within this next month.
Like I said, I need the exact numbers of how much CHIPS money you're planning on spending, so I can see how much that compares to the reserves.
Well, on top of what we spent now, this would be probably 12 to 13,000 more out of chips.
Yeah, well, when we do the conference call, we'll sit down and go over numbers, so I can make sure that I can cover everything that you need to, you know, we've gotta cover the CHIPS reimbursement stuff. The other stuff, we're gonna have to wait.
Okay. I kinda gotta decide on this pile almost immediately. Like I said, if we're gonna take it out of chips, we can claim this on chips. We can designate it for those roads that do have to be done.
Mhm. Yeah, but if we.
But if it's next year, next year's projects,
Well, then something
Chips-
from this year may not get done.
Chips carries on for 2 years, so we're fine with that.
I guess I need to see some more numbers before I commit to make some another match, just to see,
For how much we're gonna get back from chips?
well, for how much we've gotta cover in bills until the end of the year. It's one of those deals, we have to have enough money to cover the bills
Yep, I
until the money
understand
comes
that.
back.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 283,000 and 63 left. So you've spent, you know, that difference has to be covered out of
Yeah,
the 340 that's in the other part. That's the issue.
yeah,
So that's what's left, basically. Up till August, that's all the August bills.
mhm.
So,
Yeah, I think, I'll get a hold of you, Darren, I think
Okay.
I'll sit down with you and Brian, and I'll get some numbers from Maggie, and we'll see where we're at. I can give you a call, Al and Billy, if you wanna, I can't, 3 of us meet.
2 of us can.
2 of us can meet,
Let me know.
yeah.
I got a lot of the numbers and stuff.
I got to go to the
Okay.
last one, so I'll defer to Al on this one.
Okay.
All right, we'll meet and go over some numbers and go with a plan from there. Anything else on highway? Health and youth, anything, Billy?
The only thing I've got is, I believe it's Sunday, October 16th. The Delaware Academy Varsity Club's doing their annual Bulldog 5K.
So we'll enter Matt.
Are you running?
We could enter Matt. since
Okay.
he's not
Yeah.
here.
I make a motion that we enter Matt into the
I
5K.
second the motion. Congratulations, Matt.
I will as long as he has to pay the fee himself, because we don't have the money.
Uh-oh. We don't get a community discount. That it? Alright. Economic development, shared services.
We've got a few things in the works right now, not a lot to report on. Hopefully I'll have, at our next meeting, I may have some more things to report on, but right now it's.
Oh. Remind me, I need to talk to you about something related to that too.
Okay.
Recreation.
Oh, I did just think of one
Oh, you
other,
got
one
one
thing.
thing. Go ahead.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention, it's kind of under highway, but it is shared services, and I wished that Wayne was around, but I really think we need to, between the mayor and you, Mark, should really get to the county on this $10,000 situation with the salt for the village. I feel through what the village does for the county and what we do for the county and what we've done for them in the past, they should be giving the village the salt.
Right.
The village should not have to purchase salt from the county. That's just ridiculous, you know? So my feeling is, before we get into the whole budget process again and we're, paying the reimbursing and all this, I just don't see the point. I think it would not kill the village or the county to allow the village to come down and get the salt they need. That's just ridiculous. So I think it needs to be addressed with them.
Alright, I'll talk to
I
Wayne
share
and
that
see if
too.
we can
Yeah,
get him to throw it on the budget, and
yeah.
the call will get made by finance, but
Yeah,
at least we can try. I can
yeah.
see if I can
One other
twist a
thing on
few
shared
arms.
services, I just want to say that there's going to be a barbecue on the square next Monday? No,
Yeah, Monday,
Yeah.
Monday
yeah.
at 5 o'clock. The students of SUNY are going to have it. It's a meet and greet for the town and the village. So it's hot dogs and hamburgers and so forth, and it's just before the village board meeting. So I just want to put that out there
It's all
also.
free and
All free.
games and music and so
Yep.
on, so.
Okay.
It's their 4th annual.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Personnel, anything, Tom?
No, you've covered it.
Covered it? Building?
No, we just had some bills for repairs and they're done.
IT, I guess I'll cover from that. Dave Kopchak did some site upgrades for us on our website, so. And I think he's starting working on a pool from what Billy said.
His
Pool's website,
Pool's
so.
website. He's working with Peg Baldwin on that to get some newer information out there.
Okay, code enforcement.
Dale's been busy,